We picked a good day to come out here, huh? It's kind of snowy and a little bit slick. We'll see how it goes. Situated snugly between Belgium, France, and Germany is a small country filled with rivers, cliffs, forests, and valleys. Many people pass over this country completely when visiting Europe. This country is the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. This country is small, possessing less than 1,000 square miles of land and having only 645,000 inhabitants. Its proximity to other Western European countries and its size has also ensured that Luxembourg is an extremely diverse place, with only slightly more than 50% of its inhabitants actually hailing from Luxembourg. The rest are a mixture of people from Portugal, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, and other countries. The history of Luxembourg is nearly as diverse as its people. Over the years, this small section of land has been in the borderlands of many major empires of old, changing hands frequently and being the subject of several wars. Throughout history, this small tract of land has been held by the Romans, Franks, the Holy Roman Empire, the Kingdom of Lotharingia, the Habsburgs of Spain, the Habsburgs of Austria, the French, the Germans, the Dutch, and the Belgians. The current borders of Luxembourg were drawn between 1659 and 1839 in a series of peace treaties, which basically served to carve away the corners of the country and give them to France, Prussia, and Belgium. Given this history, it's no surprise today that the country's capital is mainly a series of forts and citadels along the Alzette River. We decided to start our tour of the Grand Duchy by taking a look at some of these forts. Leaving the Melia Hotel on the north side of the city, we walked down into Fort Thüngen, a fort built in 1732 by the Austrians to help reinforce the fortress of Luxembourg. It was modernized in 1860 when the Prussians held it, and most of the fort was rebuilt and refurbished in the last 50 years. You can see exactly where the ruins once stood and where the new stones were laid by their color. This fort is now home to a permanent exhibition of Luxembourgish history dating back to the Middle Ages, with plenty of artifacts on display. There are also several temporary exhibits as well. The best part about these exhibits is that they are free to enter. You will see that the concept of free is fairly common around Luxembourg. Ready to go to the next fort in line?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Walking a bit further down into the valley, we arrived at another fort. Fort Obergrünewald. Hey. This fort is made up of other parts of the so-called Grünewald front on the north side of the river. This fort was constructed as part of a wall in 1684 by the French, and then reinforced in 1716 when the Austrians took over, becoming the Fort Grünewald we see today. What's going on in here?
There's a lot of options.
Yeah?
You could go upstairs, you could go that way, or you could go that way. Looks steep.
What do you see in there?
It's just a room. It's a little rustic.
Look out for that cobweb, The walls here are enormous, and we can't imagine any army attempting to attack the fort with the curtain wall as high on the ridge as it is. From this fort, we continued our walk down to the river. Living on the edge here.
I'd rather do this than that.
Yeah, it's a little mucky. The path leading out the front of the fort winds its way into the forest, giving us a glimpse of what it must have been like for the French and Austrian soldiers of the 18th century. Somehow this turned into hiking.
Yeah.
Ooh. Continuing our hike, we found ourselves climbing up into another part of this fort. Fort Niedergrünewald. This fort makes up the same outer front as the other forts that we went to, and gives an even better view of the city below. Cozy.
Fireplace. Always wanted one.
Given the immense valley that cuts its way through the city leaders have come up with a few different solutions to help pedestrians navigate through the city without having to hike up the steep grades or spend hours climbing up winding roads. To do this, they've installed a few elevators and a funicular railway. The funicular costs only a few euros, and the elevator in Pfaffenthal is, oh yeah, free. There's the elevator over there. It's going to take us up back to the main level from the valley. We found our way down from the city walls into the valley and walked over another bridge that used to make up one of the outer walls of the city. Finally, we arrived at the Pfaffenthal lift. From here, we enjoyed the views as we rose up over 200 feet into the upper part of the city. Did we mention that this was free? Now we found ourselves in the old town of Luxembourg, where the Luxembourg fortress once sat. When we say old town, it's a bit different than you might expect. The city has become very modern. We walked through the pedestrian zones until we came to the central municipal building and the Place d'Armes. This square was very lively today, with a Christmas market on site and plenty of people having a good time. Right next to the Place d'Armes is the Place Guillaume II, a huge open square lined with municipal buildings, shops, and restaurants. However, today it was a bit quiet due to some construction in the area. Right next to this square is the Cathedral Notre Dame. There was a winter concert going on in the school building next door, and things were looking very festive. This Baroque and Gothic church was constructed starting in 1613 as a Jesuit place of worship, right next to the Jesuit college that had been built by the Belgians in 1603. This school was actually where most of the citizens of Luxembourg would attend up until the 18th century. The church was gifted to the city of Luxembourg by Empress Maria Theresa of Austria, and it received the name of Notre Dame in 1848. Outside the church is some amazing architecture, including beautiful stonework and magnificent wooden doors. The church is a beautiful example of the Baroque and Gothic styles, and there were several paintings on the walls depicting biblical scenes. The stained glass here is magnificent, and the vaulted ceilings were very impressive. In the crypts below lie the remains of nearly all of the dukes and duchesses of Luxembourg, as it's been customary for this church to be their final resting place for centuries. A short walk from the church is the Palais Grand-Ducal, the residence of the Grand Duke of Luxembourg, and the place where he performs most of his duties as the head of state. This building actually started as the first city hall of Luxembourg in 1572, and became the headquarters of the Luxembourg government in 1817. Since then, it became the residence to governors, and later the Duke and Duchess themselves. Now tourists can visit several of the rooms within the building during the summer months for a fee. Unfortunately, since it was winter when we arrived, we couldn't enter the building. However, we did still enjoy the building from the outside, including representatives from the military of Luxembourg performing their guard duties. Only a block away from the Palais Grand-Ducal is the Luxembourg City Museum. This museum was created as a modern exhibition of the history and people of Luxembourg. There are always permanent exhibitions here, as well as temporary exhibitions, like the exhibition of the Luxembourg in 100 posters that was on display when we visited. The cost to enter this museum is only €5, and people find it to be a worthwhile experience. From there, we decided to get some food before finishing our sightseeing day. So we're, in true Luxembourg fashion, we're getting some Thai food. There's nothing open today that wasn't jam-packed, so here we are. Some more buffeting. We made our way to the south side of the old city, which looks out over the old retaining wall of the fortress. Now there are paths that lead down into the river valley, but we continued walking along the wall until we reached Constitution Square. part of the old bastion that hung out over the river valley, and which now holds the Monument of Remembrance, a large pillar topped with a golden woman, a statue dedicated to those lost in World War I. There are plenty of festivals held here throughout the year, given it's a large open space. And right now, Constitution Square was the site of another Christmas market, though it was closed when we got there. We crossed over the Pont d'Adolphe over to the current location of a few local banks with an extremely unique look.
It's a really cool building.
What do you think it looks like?
It's giving us Hogwarts vibes.
Yes, us.
From far away, especially. Up close.
This area is known as the Bourbon Plateau, once part of the Bourbon Fort that made up the south side of the city's defensive wall. It's no longer a place for defense, but you can find a banking museum here. We walked further south. This took us directly to the Citadel of the Holy Ghost, a fortification built way back in 1234 that's surrounded by bastions and stone walls on all sides, looking out 270 degrees over the valley. The strategic importance of this spot was figured out early, and fortifications continued to be updated throughout the years. Now, this is the location of a government complex, including the Luxembourg Palace of Justice, the Judiciary, the Superior Court, legal reception, the tribunal offices, and what we believe to be the best view of the most historic parts of this city. Pretty, isn't it?
It is. It's beautiful.
Looking to the north from the Citadel, you can enjoy a full view of the southern side of the Bach, a large natural stone wall that runs through the river valley. This natural wall has miles of casemates inside, which are a series of tunnels and caverns that were man-made for defense. You can actually visit these casemates and see what it would have been like to be a soldier over 400 years ago. From this vantage point, we can also see the Pont du Château, a bridge and archway that was used to transport troops to the Bach from above and allow movement within the city walls from below. The view from this spot is absolutely astonishing, and the wintry setting made it even more magical.
It's a public bathroom. Stop filming me while I'm looking for a bathroom.
Yeah, well, we stopped for the bathroom. Now we're having some pizza in this little restaurant here. We made our way back through the city, now illuminated with winter lights, and got on a tram back to our hotel. Oh yeah, by the way, all of the public transportation, including buses and trams within the city, are also free. Getting back to the hotel, we decided to relax with a bit of a drink. So we're going to do something a little bit different for this video. We are currently in Luxembourg, but we were like, okay, well, we'll just get dinner in, and maybe we'll buy a couple local Luxembourg beers and try those, taste test them. So the first one, Die Kirsch or Die Kirsch, this is the one we're drinking first. So what kind of beer is this, Catherine?
It is from the second oldest brewery in Luxembourg, and they also export to Belgium.
Now, how old is the second oldest brewery in Luxembourg?
Well, it says that on the can. 1871.
Where does it say that? Oh, yeah.
I say we try it.
What kind of beer is it? So according to Google, this is a refreshing and thirst-quenching lager. So we'll see how it is. It's got a good pop when you open it.
Yeah. Always what you look for in a beer.
It smells like beer. Now, it's not like super cold, so that's part of the foam, and I also poured it like an idiot, but that is a really, really light beer. What, we got a cheers. Prost. Or wait, we got to figure out what they say. What do they say in
We're
Luxembourg?
not going to know how to say it.
What do they say in France? Probably.
Oh my god.
It's the same thing. It's Prost in Luxembourgish. Prost.
It's really light, really good.
Very, very light.
That's easy to drink.
It is.
I would say right now, since we haven't tried the other two, let's do 3 steins.
3
out of 5.
3 Luxembourg flags out of 5?
Yeah.
I think it's better than that. I think it's very smooth. It's very, very easy to drink. Pending the results of the other ones, I think this is 4 Luxembourg flags out of 5. So our next beer is another one from Luxembourg, just like the series promises, called Pfaffenthal. Pfaffenthal. Long name. So it's a Pilsner.
And it's also the largest brewery in Luxembourg.
Oh. Now, Catherine, maybe you can answer this. Why does it say Paris 1937 on it? So these are all the representations of the gold medals that were won. So congratulations to Pfaffenthal and the Pfaffenthal family. I don't know if it's a family.
Probably.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's try it. So the finest quality pills, finest...
This side of the Alps.
That can't be true
No.
because the Czech Republic is also on this side of the Alps.
Yeah. And they... Oh.
That one did not have a good pop. Okay. All right. So we have another very light beer. Prost.
That one's also very smooth, actually.
That's really nice.
Yeah, I think I like that better than the first one, actually.
That's really nice. See, okay, so these European Pilsners blow anything from North America out of the water.
I say I give this one 4.
I'm going to say 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5.
But the other one was really good too. So now we're moving on to our next beer. We're going to be honest with you, we didn't spend that much time looking for beers. It's just kind of an off-the-cuff thing. So we just went in one convenience store and got the only Luxembourgish beers there.
Yeah.
With that being said, here's our next contender. Batten or Batten. Again, don't know how to pronounce these words here in Luxembourg. But anyway, so we'll call it Batten. So Batten beer, what can you tell us about this beer, Catherine?
It was founded in 1937.
What kind of beer is it? We're going to say it is a lager.
Yeah.
Okay, now opening carefully. Okay. Again, smells like beer. You can see that color, a little bit darker than we've seen in the other beers. It smells a little bit stronger too. I think this one will have a little bit of a bite.
Yeah. So?
Yeah, right? Prost.
Prost.
Yeah. This one has probably the biggest bite, although it is still very smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good though, I like it.
It is good. It's good, but I think I like it the least. Man, we have such a janky setup here.
I know.
We're in a hotel room, if you couldn't tell. We don't have a camera stand or anything, so we're literally propping up the camera on a light stand with my laptop bag.
Yeah.
So, production.
Yeah, I think the Pfaffenthal was my favorite.
And I think
Then that one. And then this one, it's good, but I think it's...
You know what, though? We have to put it at the bottom. I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
A 3 out of 5 Luxembourg flags.
I can't rate it lower. I mean, I'd still drink it all, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still good. It's decent. It's decent, but if I had a choice between these two lagers, it's definitely going to be this guy.
Yeah. Apparently, Luxembourg is also known for having a lot of craft breweries. So if we do come back, maybe that's something to look into next time.
Yeah. Like we said, we just walked into a convenience store near the bus stop and got the only 3 Luxembourg beers that were there.
Yeah.
So these guys are probably the ones, if you go grocery shopping, these are the ones you'll see the most. But that's by no means does that mean they are the best. For being like the equivalent of domestic beers, domestic mass-produced beers, they're all really good.
Yeah.
So that wraps up this installment of Kevin and Catherine trying beers from the country that they're in.
That they picked up at a grocery store.
At a grocery store.
Yeah.
And gave it about 5 minutes of thought before starting filming.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching.
Thumbs up if you want to see it again.
Yeah.